What's up guys, Jordan here bringing you our review of My Hero One's Justice 2. This review was written by our man Alex, and he's going to tell you why this is a much improved game over the original. So, My Hero One's Justice 2 is the sequel to yesteryear's original game, a game that Alex reviewed on our website. Links are below for that. And these follow the story of the hugely popular manga and anime My Hero Academia, which centers around Izuku Midoriya and his friends who all go to a famed hero academy in order to become professional heroes. Yes, being a hero is an authorized job in this world. My Hero One's Justice 2, as such, follows directly from the first game's footsteps and continues the story from the anime mid-Season 3. The first game ended with the big clash between world-famous superhero All Might and his nemesis All For One, a battle that All Might managed to win, but at the cost of finally using up the last of his hero powers. As fans will remember, our main hero Midoriya is a somewhat rare breed in that he is of a minority group of humans who have been born without a power, a so-called quirk, but he one day meets his all-time childhood idol, the hero All Might, who senses great things in the boy and his unshakable desire to become a hero despite being born quirkless, and so bestows him with his own power. One for All, a quirk of raw power that has the ability to be passed on and grows in power every time it does. Now that the era of All Might has ended, it is therefore up to Midoriya to harness and master his powers so that he can be the new protector of humanity, a goal that All Might now vows his full attention to help him realize. Like the first game, My Hero One's Justice 2 is a 3D arena fighter with an even bigger roster than its predecessor, spanning a whopping 41 characters from across all the first 3 seasons, almost doubling the amount from the first game. After the opening cutscene and story sequence, presented to you in an interactive comic book style, you are immediately dropped into a tutorial fight between Midoriya and All Might that gives you a nice overview of the basic controls like combos, counterattacks, unblockable attacks, guarding, and special moves. After that, the game takes you to the main menu where it runs you through all the various options. Story mode, which lets you relive the story of the original story of the anime and reward you upon fulfilling various conditions. Within story mode, some chapters will be divided into main and sub, with main progressing the story while sub will show you a particular chapter from a different point of view. After beating the main story, you will also, like in the first game, unlock the villain story. On many fronts, the budget seems to have been upped for this sequel, but story mode doesn't seem to be one of them. One's Justice 2 keeps rolling with the first game style of presenting the story in bite-sized chapters consisting of narrated comic book panels, interluded with battles where characters will chat to each other about current circumstances. The opening 3D cutscene gave me false hopes that this had been changed, that perhaps in this installment we would be getting a full-fledged 3D world to run around and exploring, while the story unfolded in amazingly choreographed 3D cutscenes like in something such as Ultimate Ninja Storm. But alas, they cheated out once again. And we are sorry that we can't show any of this because the Switch's recording feature isn't permitted to record that, so not sure why Bandai felt that necessary, considering there's not much to show anyways. In terms of other modes, there is Mission Mode. Here you assemble a team of your favorite heroes and level up as you move around the board and defeat opponents. There's Free Battle, which is the mode no self-respecting anime fighter can be without. It is exactly what it sounds like, and is probably the mode that you and your friends will be spending the most time on. A mode where you can put your favorite characters to the test by putting them up against each other in high-octane, flashy 1-on-1 or 3-on-3 battles to your heart's content, and are able to set everything from CPU strength to the amount of rounds and time limits. As mentioned earlier, One's Justice 2 sports a very much needed, much grander roster than the previous game, allowing you to now play with most of the hero characters, though still with some odd omissions. Plus, there is a healthy selection of villains as well. The battle system itself feels more polished from before, there are more stages to choose from, and if at all at any moment you forget what buttons do, you can simply push the start button and immediately see a list of your character's moves. As you fight and take damage, your plus ultra meter will fill, with level 3 being the highest. Pushing the right buttons on either level will make your character execute one of their signature moves, which, if it connects, will deal some serious punishment to the opposition, and in true anime fighting game fashion, lets you sit back for a good 5 to 10 seconds while you watch an attack animation play out. With a push of L or R, you can call either of your sidekicks to the field to do their thing, but these will occasionally come to your aid on their own. And if you push the call button twice in quick succession, you will command them to use their own special attack, as long as you have enough energy in your plus ultra meter, that is. If you fight 3v3 and execute a level 3 special move, All three of your characters will take the stand simultaneously and execute a combined mega move. Some characters, if they have a special relation to each other, will even use special attacks when activating this function. My only single gripe with this mode, as was actually one of my gripes with the first game too, is that all the characters are unlocked from the get-go. Except 3 of the characters. 1 you need to beat the story mode to get, 1 you need to beat the villain story mode to get, and 1 that is purchased as DLC. Speaking of which, One's Justice 2 comes right out of the gate with a £17 season pass that promises to deliver 5 additional characters at some point in the future. But going back to all the characters being unlocked from the start, I do get why they do it, as I'm sure some fans who buy the game just want to be able to sit down immediately with their friends and play against each other, instead of arduously having to slog through the story mode in order to unlock them that way, as many of the fighting games do. But personally, I felt that there was a sense of reward to starting the game with only a handful of characters, and then unlocking the rest as you went along in the story. Oh well, c'est la vie. Then again, seeing as how the story mode in these games is just glorified slideshows, I'm guessing it wouldn't be very interesting for your friends to sit through waiting for you to unlock everything. If you don't have friends in your vicinity, however, then you are covered in the network mode, because these are modern times. And this of course allows you to battle each other online from anywhere in the world. Personally, I only brave this mode in any fighting game if I want to break my own self-confidence and learn how much I suck. We know that we are bringing this review to you a little late, but on the plus side, we did get the opportunity to review this part of the game. Entering network will bring you into a sub-menu where you're greeted with a hardcore Dragon Ball Z rip. No, seriously, I swear I'm hearing Dragon Ball Z undertones. And here you are given the option to either play a quick unranked match where nothing is at stake except your pride, or you can play ranked where people are out for blood. Unranked pits you against random players, of course, so if you want to battle your friends, you need to either create a room or search for one that your friend has created. Since I have no friends who play this game, I could not test this, but I played a couple of casual matches, stayed far away from ranked, and was overall very satisfied with the connection. It of course depends highly on your individual internet speed, but I was able to find matches very quickly. And aside from a bit of lag during my character's opening animation, the fights themselves flowed flawlessly. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't choose your fighter before a match, but rather you go into the change settings submenu to do so. When you play either ranked or unranked, you will be represented by your player card, which will show you how many points you have accumulated, as well as how many likes you have gotten. Yes, you can compliment your opponent after a battle, which, is kind of cool. And I'll get back to how to customize these cards in a bit. There's also arcade mode, in which you choose a fighter accompanied with 2 sidekicks and then choose one of 3 paths: Alpha, Beta, or Zeta. Each path will have you fighting a number of opponents, and the goal here then is to see how many points you have scored based on your performance. After defeating a foe, your character and the CPU will have a short little chatter for added text flavor. But as far as I can tell, that's just it really. Should you feel the need for it, the game of course has a dedicated training section where you can hone your skills, either with a favorite of yours or perhaps you want to try out a character you have never played before in a safe environment. Training mode is essentially your debug mode, where you can manipulate your own character and your opponents in more or less any way you want. You can make it so your plus ultra gauge is always full, so you can practice your special moves, or just do what I did and cycle through every single character on the roster to check out their cool cinematics. You can set your sidekick gauges to be full at all times, change combos to be normal or manual, and even decide the actions of your opponent down to the smallest detail so that you can train how to counter different situations. You can also change the enemy from being a programmable dummy to being controlled by a second player, if you have a buddy who wants to spar with you, that is. Now, customization is where you can get really creative. I previously expressed disappointment in that all the characters were unlocked right away, but in return, various feats you do throughout each of the game's modes will award you with either pieces of clothing that you can use in this menu to personalize all of your heroes, and titles and designs for your player's profile. There are hundreds and hundreds of customization options, adding immensely to the game's longevity. It's kind of like Dead or Alive in that regard, except not nearly as greedy enough and not charging you hundreds of dollars per season pass. There is a shop in the game, mind you, if you want to speed up the process a bit, but everything is bought with in-game currency that you earn through battles and other game modes. No microtransactions here. The gallery is the final stop on our tour and is where you'll find all the movie clips, graphics, voice clips, and music you've unlocked throughout your adventure, a feature I always appreciate in any game that has cinematic visuals. Nothing much is new in the graphics department. Everything I wrote in my review of the first game still holds true here. My Hero One's Justice 2 features the same, albeit slightly updated cel-shaded graphics as before. And hey, why fix what ain't broken? For a AAA anime fighting game that goes for a very cartoony look, this art style is very vibrant with popping colors that fit perfectly. The audio likewise does a perfectly fine job at keeping you in the mood. The main menu theme is a soft and somber guitar riff that is nice and easy to the ears, making you feel relaxed so you can take your time deciding what mode you're in the mood for, or perhaps just have it playing in the background while you're writing a review. Meanwhile, most other modes fittingly sport a rocking soundtrack that gets you pumped and ready for battle. I would comment on the battles themselves, but I'm always so focused on the gameplay that I never really pick it up, as everything is just background noise to me. All the characters are once again voiced, but only in Japanese. I will spare you the rant, but Bandai is a big company with a lot of cash, so I don't get why they always refuse to shell out a bit of extra cash to have the game dubbed in English as well. Why not give us options? For some reason, only Naruto and Dragon Ball Z get that privilege. That being said, I cannot comment on the voice acting itself since I can't understand any of it. I mean, it's not just that I can't understand it, the game's text is in English after all, but when the characters small talk, especially during the story mode battles, I will have to divide my attention 50-50 between reading the subtitles and focusing on the battle itself. That's not good. Plus, there are no subtitles when the characters say their victory quotes after a battle. Yes, Bakugo, you're cool, but I have no idea what you're saying. I'm sure it was something cool though. In terms of value, although the story mode, as mentioned at the beginning of this review, doesn't seem to have gotten a bigger budget since last time, every other aspect of the game feels much more polished than the first game. Where the first game was decent but did reek of being the first, the second installment feels much more solid. One of my biggest gripes with the first game, above all else, was the tiny roster that lacked many characters from the show that we were already well acquainted with. So this time I was very pleased to see how much they had expanded it. In a fighting game, this is the most important aspect to me, as I feel the amount of playable characters ultimately is what gives it the game variety and value. My Hero 1's Justice 2 sits at a whopping £49.99 full retail price. In the US it's $60 and Europe it is a bizarre €70. Aside from the Euro pricing, it's not all that surprising for a AAA anime licensed game, but this time I actually feel the price is justified. Whereas the first game, I didn't get that feeling. I didn't think it had enough content overall to justify the price, but 1's Justice 2, both in terms of polish and content, is a definite improvement over its predecessor, and a game I can most definitely recommend to both fans of fighting games and of course especially fans of the series. There is a physical version, of course, which will run you a bit cheaper than the digital version, plus there is an extra crazy expensive collector's edition, which includes an LED figurine, a steelbook, badges, and a proper nice box. It will set you back a little bit of money, but if you want to buy either the standard edition or the collector's edition, and you want to support us, SwitchWatch, at the same time, then there are Amazon links in the description and pinned comment below, which will give your favorite Switch reviewers a small cut. Overall, you won't get big, high-quality cinematic cutscenes or quick-time story events like in the Ultimate Ninja Storm series, which I'm still very disappointed in, but you definitely don't get this game for the story. Watch the anime instead. But if you're just hungering for a good My Hero Academia fighting game to kill a weekend with, either alone, online, or with local friends, then look no further. I give My Hero 1's Justice 2 a solid 8 out of 10. Thanks wholeheartedly to Alex for bringing this review to you guys. He's very much the anime dude. Be sure to check out his other review from us last week, Langrissa 1 and 2, and also check out this week's Physicals video where this game was featured. And how about another review? Alder's Blood was released on Friday too, so check that one out. We'll see you guys over there. Take care. Alex also wrote to make me say plus ultra, but I'm not doing that because I can't do that. I have too much dignity.